Hello there, thank you for joining us. I'm Florence Armain, and on The Perspective today, we take a look into the tourism and hospitality industry, its current appeal, challenges, and just how vast its contribution to the state coffers. Joining me is Bill Barnett, Managing Director of C9 Hotelworks. Bill, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Hi, thank you for having me.
And can you tell us a little bit, how does C9 Hotelworks works?
We're a company, we specialize in market research, feasibility studies, and data basically for the hospitality industry. We work pan-Asia, but we spend a lot of time here in Indonesia. Certainly it's one of the budgeting areas in Southeast Asia, certainly a very important market.
And would you say, what are the appeals of Indonesian tourism and hospitality industry, based on your experience?
There's such great upside. I mean, here you've got 250 million domestic trips, certainly, and there's a lot of challenges, certainly, with the international market. You've got under 9 million international visitors, but there's so much upside. So that's what we also look at with Indonesia. It's such a strong economic base, and again, this is the biggest economy in Southeast Asia.
So the future is looking really bright for Indonesia.
Certainly there's challenges, and I think this year, the key word this year is disruptive. Be it disruptive technology, but certainly disruptive tourism. There's big events out there, certainly with the oil prices going as well as the currency, certainly, the Indonesian rupee at 13,000 above. So those are challenges as well.
And what about tourism or hospitality industry in general in Southeast Asia at the moment? Where is Indonesia faring up with other Asian countries? Because we're actually lagging behind our neighboring countries, Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand.
To a point, but I certainly, you look at a country like Malaysia, there's so much cross-tourism as well, so you can't just base it on numbers as well. Again, there's such a large domestic base, and the key emerging thing we see throughout Southeast Asia is the middle class and the rising consumer class, certainly across the region.
And you see for Indonesian tourism industry, do you see there's more appeal to the local tourists or regional or international foreign tourists for Indonesia?
I think certainly, you have to balance things, and segmentation is important. Again, when you go back to 250 million, and with the rupiah moving up, you also have to look at people maybe taking staycations. You have a lot more domestic tourism. Indonesians perhaps were spending money on long-haul vacations, maybe looking at that again, actually going domestically as well.
And C9 right now is operational in Indonesia as well?
We do a lot of work certainly in the greater Bali area. I mean, Bali is booming as well, but certainly as we're aware, but the greater Bali area, Lombok, the Gilis, Labuan Bajo, people want more adventurous tourism now. There's a changing in the segmentation. So I think tourism's needs are changing.
Right. So you wouldn't say that Indonesian tourism right now is too focused, is too Bali-centric, because everybody is talking about Bali, to the point that Bali perhaps is its own country island. Is not.
To a point, we see the same thing in Thailand, where I'm based. We see Phuket also as a key driver. These are urbanizing resort markets. You see, people will again be looking for new destinations. That's something interesting for us. But airlift really dictates things. Lombok certainly is on our radar as well. But there's a lot of other destinations which should be developed in Indonesia.
And it all goes back to how infrastructure is managed in each of these regions to support tourism. I think
airlift is a big demand. You can't stay there if you can't get there. We look at other locations, Bintan, the changing of the airport there, and other destinations as well. Here in Jakarta, you have a city of 30 million people as well, not just going to Bandung traditionally with 1,000 islands, and we look at places like Belitung as well and other areas which are interesting.
Right, and those are your future endeavors, perhaps, of these small islands around Indonesia, not just in the eastern part of Indonesia.
I think that's also interesting because there's not a parallel market. In Europe or the US, people drive and they have train links as well, but Indonesia is a maritime country, so you have people going from island to island. So I think the key challenge for the marketplace is to see more fast boats going between locations and more infrastructure. It's cheaper for Indonesians sometimes to fly to Japan than it is to cross the country.
Well, what would you say is the unique selling points for Indonesian hospitality industry?
It's a strong culture, and as I said, Bali is a global name, but certainly Indonesia is as well. In terms of the culture as well. There's a lot of diversity as well. There's a lot of natural beauty as well. So there's a whole pocket full for niche tourism. I think these days people are more, in terms of niches as well, going forward. They want adventure tourism, they want diving, they want surf tourism as well. There's different experiences. So the focus not on just international brand standards, but it's to get that focus as well.
Okay. Now, what are the challenges Indonesia is facing today? In its besides infrastructure and development, what are the?
Infrastructure is the obvious one. Jakarta. If you go to Bangkok as well, the the BTS SkyTrain actually changed the tourism market there as well. And you got to fix tourism in Indonesia. You have to fix Jakarta.
Just Jakarta?
You've got to fix Jakarta first, because Jakarta is the gateway city.
Why?
It's important because people have to be able to move throughout for tourists as well as for business people. They have to be able to move freely around the country. So you got to fix one thing as well. Too often there's the giant tourism plans to do the entire sector, the development corridors through the country as well. But you've got to fix the capital city, because that's the face of the country.
That's where the creme de la creme is. But what about other entry points like Makassar, Medan, perhaps Surabaya, for other areas of
I think we're seeing those destinations. You're seeing the airlift come out. I mean, it's also defining in terms of the low-cost carriers. Those are big defining factors as well. But again, there has to be, you've got to price it right. You've got to have access which is a reasonable pricing. As I said, it's so it's cheaper sometimes for Indonesians to fly abroad. They'll opt to go to Singapore versus going to Makassar and other destinations as well.
That's the issue, isn't it? The traveling cost. That's Indonesia needs to work on, because we have to fly to these small islands.
You have to fly, but also you can have fast ferries. You can have other methodologies of getting around the country. I think that's key.
Okay, well, we're going to go for a short break. We'll be right back right here on The Perspective.